What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about Tasha Layton, her song "How Far." So I was like, well, let's find a song to listen to today. Don't know how. I don't think I've heard this song. Um, you're probably like, if you've watched all the other videos, you're like, how has he never heard half these songs? Well, I just kind of listen to to my own stuff over and over and over again. So I'm not really into, or I don't really keep up with a lot of what's being listened to now, because I just don't listen to the radio very much. So haven't heard this song. So let's dive into it. But first, let's look at our worship guidelines real quick. Directional, musically repeatable, theologically sound, the Bob test, artistic license, and congregational versus personal. If you want to know more about that, there's a link in the description. You can go find out how I rank, or how I navigate through songs to see how and how I judge whether a song is good or not. So I try to base those off biblical principles. But you can go watch that video. But let's jump into the video. Alright. Hopefully having the mic here will help you hear me better. So I realized I was pretty soft. I'm a mumbler too, so that doesn't help.
I thought I'd be there by now. Followed shame to the place. I was sure your grace ran out. I kept running and running and running. You kept chasing and chasing and chasing.
Okay, so I'm guessing that's the chorus. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, one of the problems with these lyric videos is it's hard for me to show all the lyrics. Let's see here. How far is too far? I thought I'd be there by now. Okay. At least it's a complete sentence. I followed shame to the place. I was sure your grace ran out. It's an interesting thought. Okay. So talking about sometimes, we're tempted to feel like in our guilt and our shame that God's grace runs out, that it doesn't extend the depths of our sin, but rest assured that God's grace is greater than our sin. Grace, grace, God's grace. How does that song go? Is it grace that is will pardon and cleanse with grace greater than all our sin? There we go. Eventually I got to it. Let's keep going here. Sure, your grace ran out. I kept running and running and running. You kept chasing and chasing and chasing. So I like this. I like how and maybe it's the Calvinist in me, but my free will brothers and sisters, maybe y'all are you can enjoy this too. But I always describe my salvation as I kept fighting God, but he just drug me, he knocked me out and drug me kicking and screaming, and despite the fact that I kept rebelling against him, he's like, no, you're mine. And it gives me a lot of peace, because there's nothing I can do to lose salvation. And I can trust in his work to save me. Not that I shouldn't, strive to obey, but because he has changed my heart, and I do strive to obey. Sorry, I'm cleaning the dust off my microphone. I'll stop doing that. So I like this. I'm running, and you keep chasing. So every time I run away, every time I stray, every time I go into sin, you're chasing me. I like it. It's good. Okay. All right. So this is the chorus. So far, not too bad. Not too bad. Let's keep going. Oh, I can get this up, can't I?
A million miles of my mistakes, so couldn't keep your love away. turn around.
So that's the chorus. Alright. So, a million miles of my mistakes. Still couldn't keep your love away. However far away I am from home. Is it the same? Yeah. That's how far your love will go. I like it. I like it. So I don't remember which video I was listening, or which song I was listening to, but they try to kind of get this idea. But they said, like, you're close, but you're also, like, willing to go far away, and I just felt like it didn't come off well. But I like this, like, I'm running away because I'm a sinner. I'm a rebellious sinner. And every time, no matter how far I go, God's always right there with me. Like, he's not, there's nowhere that I can run. There's no, no distance that I can travel away from God that he's not going to follow. Because, that's how great his love is. So I like that. I like this. So, when it, I'm not going to say it's like my favorite song so far, but I like the message. It's good. I wish a lot. This is one of the best songs I've listened to on the channel. We'll put it that way. It's one of the best songs because you got complete sentences, complete ideas, and and the message seems to be pretty strong. So let's keep going. I'm liking it. Might be a little overexcited about finding a good song.
I turn around and I see pure compassion in your eyes. The Savior's voice says to me, time to come back home, my child. So I came running and running and running, and you kept reaching and reaching and reaching, Lord, a million.
Alright, so let's see here. Find where it was. Okay. Alright. Here we go. Okay. I turn around and I see pure compassion in your eyes. So, again, complete sentence. I like it. So, she's basically saying, it's kind of like the prodigal son story. Like, at times we've all kind of run away from God, but when we turn back, like, we see the love that the Father has for us. Like, if you read through the Gospels, it's just sometimes it's heartbreaking for me when I come to those passages where Jesus looks on his people and he sees the state that they're in, and he just has compassion for them. And I'm just like, man, like, that's what God has for us. He has compassion for us. That's always good. So yeah, I like it. Good so far. Pure, a Savior's voice says to me, time to come back home, my child. Alright, and then so I came running and you kept reaching. That's the next part. Yeah, it's good, and that's the difference between the child of God and the child of Satan, is that we're all running. We're all running away from God. We all rebel. We all sin. But the child of God, when we hear the Savior's voice come home, we remember to turn and run back to him. And so that's the difference, because God has given us a heart of flesh and not a heart of stone. And so we come back, came running back. And then, God, as we're running back, he reaches out. What you see that it's almost like the story of the prodigal son here, where you have the son who's run away, who comes back. Well, the father goes out and runs out and meets him. And so, that's portrayed in a lot of songs in Christian realm. And this one does a pretty good job of, like, not directly, like, quoting the parable of the two sons, but but basically getting all the ideas. So let's see. We have probably the chorus again. So I'm liking this. This is one of the better songs I've listened to. Still couldn't keep your love away. However far I am from home. Yeah, so this looks like the same. Okay. Here we go. This is the new stuff.
These arms stretched open wide. You paid it all. What kind of love lays down his life? Willing to cross 1,000,000 miles of my.
All right. So some of the language or some of the parallels here I like. So mercy's arms stretched open wide. This is the picture of Christ crucified. Christ being the mercy of God. You paid it all. So this is, turning to God. You paid it all. I guess it's been talking about God, but like some of the language like goes back and forth from directive to God and like just proclaiming it in general, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Although I do like more consistency, but it's more of an artistic license kind of thing. So we'll just, I'll just pass on that. Just a small critique there. What kind of love lays down his life? I like this. The love of. We kind of have this switch, like what kind of love. You would say lays down its life, but the his actually is showing that this is talking about Christ. So, and really God. So you could almost say like what kind of God, because God is love, lays down his life. I think that's pretty interesting. I like the way that that's written. That's pretty cool. And then. I thought this was cool. Willing to cross as like a tie-in to the chorus, 1,000,000 miles. And so we have cross, which, is definitely got to be like, at least is how I'm reading it. Maybe this isn't how, she's putting it. But you have the imagery of the cross, and then you're melding that together with the imagery of crossing, millions of miles to reach you. And so it's that cross that, is what, the way that God used to reach us. So using this as like a bridge between those two ideas, between the crucifixion and, God reaching for us, it's good. I like it. This is one of my favorite parts of the song. Using this language, this artistic language here. So that's really cool. That's really good. So let's see. We go into the chorus. Looks about the same. Was that different? No. Oh, I couldn't keep her love away. Okay, that's just like a. In music, we have the harmony or the melody, and then you have harmonies, which are kind of like decoration for the melody, which adds layers. But we have like these accidentals, that's what we call them in the music, where they're notes that don't fit in the key, or in the chord, but they are adding or leading somewhere. So they have different types of accidentals. And that's sort of what I think of when I see like slight variations to the verses or the choruses at end of songs. Just little accidentals that add to the thing. I like the video with the cross in the back. That's how far your love will go. That looks about it. All right. So let's talk about that. So, this is one of the better songs. This is one of the best songs I've listened to for the channel. I think you really get to see the gospel portrayed. while also being an encouragement to believers. So directional. Most of the song seems to be talking to God, saying, "Even though I've run away, this is you've always, you're always willing to go the distance with me." And so it's talking to God. I think there are a couple times where the direction shifts, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, there was some artistic license in the some of the language that's used that kind of takes it away from all being the same tense. But it's not enough to really complain about. So directional, I think it's fine. Musically repeatable. Yeah, it's a pretty easy song. It's not hard to remember. Theologically sound. Yeah, I love the Christology in here. I like the imagery that's portrayed. The Bob test, I think it does pretty well, even without like, I don't know if they ever said Christ or she ever said Christ or God, but it's very clear like that who she's talking about. I mean, you could probably argue that, you know, like Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons are gonna believe the same. I don't know that they would have too much to complain about. But I don't need that in every song. And the fact that this seems pretty theologically sound in general, I don't need the Trinity portrayed in every song, is what I'm saying. So I don't mind. I think that there's enough Christology in here to say it passes the Bob test with flying colors. There's no real worry about that. Even if like you could probably sing this in a Mormon or Jehovah's Witness church. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a pass. I think it's fine. Because I don't think. Sorry, I don't think that you need to have the Trinity explicitly in every song or most songs. Like I'm just tired of songs that are just so bland that there's absolutely no difference between God and Bob. That's what I have a problem with. So I don't need it to be super specific in every song. I just want it to pass a simple test of, can I change God with Bob and it still makes sense? That's all I'm looking for. You know, I do like songs that, you know, mention the Trinity in some way. Those are even better, but I don't need it in every song. So that just as a clarification, if in case you need that. All right. Rant aside, congregational versus personal. I'm not going to hate on a church that sings this congregationally. It's not exactly the type of song I'm looking for a congregational, namely because even though I feel like it's a really good song, I think this will work well as like a special music in a church. If your church does that, my church doesn't, but like if your church does that, I think that would work well with that. But when I'm looking for congregational songs, I'm looking for songs that we sing together. Like this song is in like the perspective of one person, which is fine. And there are some songs that I feel like do that well enough even for the congregation to join in. But I feel like this one, I would probably keep this as personal. This is one of the best songs we listen to, but I think I'm going to keep it personal. But I'm not going to hate on any. I think it's perfectly fine if other churches, you know, use this. So it's fine for congregational singing. I don't think it's something you shouldn't do. It's just not something that I would do, if that makes sense. So I'm a little more picky about the songs that I do in congregational worship. just by nature of me. But if I go to a church that's singing this, I'm gonna sing along just like everybody else. I'm not gonna. It's not gonna cause me to complain. It's just not what I would choose for my church. If that makes sense. So just because just because I wouldn't sing it or do it in church doesn't mean that I think that other churches shouldn't. It's not where I wouldn't put this in congregational. I put this in personal. But I fully understand other people who might put this in a congregational setting. So that's what I think about that. So that is How Far by Tasha Layton. Let me know what you think. I've never heard of this lady. So I like this song at least. So we'll see. I had no expectation, or I had low expectations for this song. And maybe it's just because I've listened to so many other bad songs that were in the top listings, but I was pleasantly surprised. We'll put it that way. So I recommend you can go check the link for the lyric video in the description, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.